I think by far the hardest job is being a landlord. And the most
this is a good take. I like this. Yeah.
Because these guys are giving people places to live, taking
the nation's
all the
heroes.
houses, the nation's heroes. 9/11 responders wish
they were landlords.
that they were landlords.
Dude, this needs
in
to
the
be
most heroic city of New York. Salute to the landlords of New York City, the finest people in this United States.
You have that aggressive, emotional.
I think it's about landlords what they do.
Like you're crying on the inside. You're so goddamn proud. That salute.
If you want to own a home, don't blame a landlord for buying it first. Do what the landlord did to earn that home.
Bird catches the worm.
He chose his parents properly.
Yes. Yeah. Just
you're the idiot who chose poor parents. Don't blame them.
Dumbass.
Why didn't you strike while the iron was hot in 1988?
Why don't you just get a big building and don't care if there's running water in it and then shove a bunch of people in there on government subsidies and you get your money?
You know what what I always do come back to is why don't they move to a more rural area?
Who?
And anyone who's complaining about these things, about the high prices of things, they often live in these big cities where things are really expensive. And okay, you got to live in a city to do your job. Move to fucking Atlanta, bro. You know how cheap it is in Atlanta compared to any other major city you've heard of in America? Boston, fucking New York, LA, all those places. Atlanta's cheap as shit.
For a major city.
Yeah. My rent is like, I have a big house with many rooms and it's low rent. My rent is double what I paid when I was 19 in a 1-bedroom apartment. And this is a house. It's so low you don't feel bad about renting here, that you get so much value for your money, and especially for splitting it with somebody. So, but I hear about these people with $2,500 a month, $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, and my God, how could you stomach that? Unless you're geared in, you're a guy like Tucker, you know, who's really profiting from being right there in town where he can collaborate and do things. What the fuck are you doing? Why aren't you in Atlanta? Why aren't you in a suburb? Why aren't you in the country? If you could let go of being a cosmopolitan person in the big city, I bet you'd live a happier life in some smaller town where gasoline costs the same, but everything else is cheaper. Like the rent where I'm from, if you don't mind living in the country, you know, it's hundreds of dollars, not thousands of dollars.
If you're like a Twitch streamer who just doesn't do anything but stream from like their room, like you can you could be the king of Omaha. Like you could be the guy in Oklahoma City who owns the biggest house in Oklahoma City. You could have a compound. People around you will start to talk. Like
land is so cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah. The property values are
in LA.
Properties like $6,000 or $7,000 for an acre. When you get out into the country, you know, compare that to just millions of dollars for a quarter of an acre, which is what you see in the cities. It's I don't know. I never hate the landlords, but what I do hate is I don't like the blind hate against anyone who rents a property, because that's what I feel, what I see most on the internet.
Property.
Like
who rents out a property, anyone in general who accepts rent. But I really don't like the gigantic corporations that are coming around and just buying everything up over market values, driving those values up, and then just renting everything out. They own entire neighborhoods out here. Like every one of my neighbors has the same trash can, huh? How'd that happen? Like every one of these houses is owned by some big company. We're all just every month.
It might be my age, but I no longer have much patience for people who hate the way the world is, as opposed to the ones I admire who try to thrive in the way the world is. So like whatever, if you go into nursing and then spend your entire career complaining that nurses don't make enough money, dude, it was that way since before I was born, and I'm really old. Like nursing salaries didn't catch you by surprise. Oh, did you become a veterinarian? And now you have a tremendous amount of student loan debt and your salary is not that of a doctor, of someone who's equivalently educated, you should have went into this wide open. Save the tears for your mom, who might give a flying fuck, because I'm not that guy. I don't care. This is what you signed up for. Mm-hmm. And again, like, does this guy own like 4 houses on the side? Yeah. He scrimped and saved during his 20s, bought some houses during his 30s, made some good moves. And now in his 40s, he's got a couple homes to rent out, and he's got some passive income. Do it. Do it. It sucked for him. I guarantee you, he didn't have a nice car when he was saving for those homes. He didn't take the vacations. He didn't, he missed out on a lot of cool shit so that he could set himself up for his future. Those options still exist today. And you just discredit everyone before you who scrimped and saved and like got ahead.
It's definitely different now. Like, homeownership is not as easy as it was 30 years ago. Like, wages have stagnated. Interest rates are crazy right now. Just the market of homes is insane. Like, and so I understand what you're saying, but I will push back a bit that like this generation of young people now, like the possibility of homeownership that was available to people who were their age now in 1987, like isn't there.
So I actually agree and appreciate that. But there have been pockets like this before. I remember in the 80s when we bought our beach house or something, the interest rates were like 14% on a mortgage or something. It was really high. And I remember my father, I think he got an 11% mortgage and was like, damn, we're doing pretty well. They're still way low. What's the mortgage rate now? 7%, something like that?
Yeah, but the total of the house is so much higher.
Well, yeah. But what my point is there's going to be whatever 5-year pockets in history where it's not a good time to buy, and it's hard to time those and get it right, but it will get better.
I don't have your
interest rates will go back down.
I don't have your experience or maybe even your eye for this sort of thing, but it seems to me like it's not going to change anytime soon because of what I mentioned earlier. The way that when those companies come around, they don't just buy everything. They buy the houses you wanted. They leave you with these scraps where it's like nobody wants to buy those homes. Like it's hard to find a home that isn't owned by, I don't know,
Zillow or BlackRock or
one of those gigantic companies.
So much of the economy is red hot right now, and people don't think it is because they don't. Trump would have been way better at like talking about the hot spots in the economy, but the fact that unemployment is crazy low right now, and the housing prices are high, and they had to raise interest rates in an effort to cool off the economy because we're kind of too heavily employed and that stuff. Mm-hmm. That won't last forever. There will be a recession at some point. And Germany's all those houses that bought those, all those companies that bought those houses will lose their fucking shirt if they bought when it was high.
2 quarters of negative growth. That's a recession, right? That's the definition.
Did you say 2?
2 quarters.
Yeah, I thought it was 2. I don't know. Somehow I heard 3.
Germany's in a recession.
Are they?
Yeah. I at least the internet claimed it was today.